why don't we have a game of riddles? Yes, just you and me.
I'll go first. What do Latrell Mitchell and Ryan Madison have in common? Idiot player managers. I'm Old Panther, and this is Rugby League news by fans, for fans. I've got to ask, at what point did the NRL do something about the imbalance of power in favour of player managers when it comes to NRL contracts? Can they even do anything? Take these two guys for example. Mitchell's in limbo, struggling to find a club, and is even having to consider going to rugby union because his management are chasing a big money contract, even if it isn't available. The Tigers were all ready to go. They tabled Mitchell an offer and everything. But his management were busy stuffing around with a strategy that, from the outside, looks like they're trying to play the clubs off against each other for a big payday.
Of course, the Tigers have tabled an offer. There's no mystery to that. And all of us have just made a decision that it was probably best in the circumstances that we find some certainty. But as at the moment, though, our interests were probably better served by withdrawing the offer.
Problem is, these clubs can't wait around forever, because if there is an offer on the table, then that's cap space that's effectively locked up on a maybe, maybe not prospect, and then the club could lose out on someone who's actually willing to sign. And I get it. It makes perfect sense to want to do the best you can to sort out your financial future. But what's he going to do when he's stuck with a teeny tiny contract playing reserve grade for the Roosters? The Cowboys have just brought in Valentine Holmes, and the Tigers have just ordered an extra large Leilua to go. So roster spots are starting to dry up. Honestly, from the perspective of a fan, it looks like he's getting screwed over by his own people who can't handle a negotiation. I would bet most people, even without experience, could get a massively talented player like Latrell Mitchell a well-paid contract at a club, possibly even playing fullback. Now apparently the Titans are the next target, with a meeting set up this week, and I really hope for his sake they come to terms with a reasonable deal for both parties, and then smash it on field in 2020. Because by all accounts, Mitchell's a good kid, and God knows the Titans club and fans have been through enough the last few years. But how did we get here in the first place? Well, there's two factors as far as I see it. The first is the clubs being desperate for success are easy to manipulate. With the idea of a big name signing, it's easy for a team like the Roosters to do what they want because they hold all the power, having multiple premierships and probably the best team of the decade, so they get to dictate terms. But go to the other end of the competition, and it's a completely different story. And the second point is an extension of the first. Ryan Madison has the answer for us. There's this strange culture around the game at the moment that player managers can basically hold clubs to ransom. Just look at the Mitch Moses situation in 2017. Fans weren't exactly thrilled with that, saying he was tanking for a release. So, Madison doesn't go to training due to personal reasons, and his management requested an early release to talk to other clubs, even though he had 2 years left on his contract. Now, what options do the Tigers have here? They say no, make him finish the contract. But then what, does he phone it in like what fans said Moses did? Because he doesn't want to be there, then affecting the team's overall performance on field? The other option is to put him in reserve grade for 2 years. But then you've got a reasonable chunk of your salary cap tied up in lower grades, contributing absolutely nothing to the end goal of winning a premiership. Tigers fans certainly don't deserve that drama. They're already going through a massive finals drought, having not made the 8 since 2011. So really, in the end, these guys are just hurting their brand, as us fans who are extremely emotionally invested in our teams become jaded towards these guys who are seemingly hurting our clubs. And it also paints the NRL as an unprofessional organisation, as fans see contracts as being kind of worthless, which brings me back to my original question of whether the NRL can actually do anything. I don't think there are any rules that they can put in place to stop this, beyond what's already there. You already can't break your contract without the club's permission, and you can't exactly punish people for whatever personal things they've got going on. Because sometimes it's actually genuine. In the end, I think what will happen is more and more teams will go the way of the Tigers, who are showing some huge balls here, and just cancel contract negotiations if they aren't up to a standard. And for players, when they are signing a new contract, it's possible we'll start seeing shorter and shorter contract lengths employed. There's much less risk in a 1-year contract of something derailing your season. But then players have less stability in the long term, having to fight for a contract every year. We've seen this to a point with the Panthers, for example, where long contracts were the norm, but now it's all 2-year deals instead. And I'm no expert, and I am taking a bit of a guess at this, but I can see it becoming the standard across the game as clubs look to protect themselves from the tampering of player managers. Anyway, thanks for listening to my little rant. Make sure to have your say, I'd love to hear from you, and be sure to like and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.